Senator John Barrasso is chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee and sits on the Foreign Relations Committee and is fresh back from China, too. We'll talk about that. Senator, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Shannon. Thanks for having me.
All right, you were inside that highly unusual briefing at the White House last night where the entire Senate was invited to come over to talk about the plans, the threats, the options with regard to North Korea. What was the mood in that room?
Well, people were very interested to hear what was being said. You had the president there, the vice president, the secretary of state, secretary of defense, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, all talking about this threat, which is significantly increased by North Korea. So the days of strategic patience are over. It is in all of our best interest that we have a peaceful resolution of this situation. And we talked about various options if that cannot be done. But what we need to do is basically get North Korea to come to the realization, with the help of China, that it is in their best interest to give up this desire to have nuclear weapons that could affect not just that part of the country, because the world, because they have those already, but also they're trying to develop intercontinental ballistic missiles that could be used to deliver nuclear weapons to the United States.
There have been a lot of carrots and sticks used for decades with North Korea, and yet they're still on the same path. How is this time any different?
Well, for a long time, I think China did not believe that it was a problem if North Korea developed nuclear weapons. Now China is coming to the realization that the Korean Peninsula and their lives would be better if North Korea did not have nuclear weapons at all. So it's a shift in the mindset of China. I think the meeting between President Trump and President Xi in Mar-a-Lago was consequential. I went to China right after that meeting to meet with the leaders there. They now realize the threat that North Korea with nuclear weapons can provide to China itself and the role China can play. And China will do what they believe is best for them. What the role China can play is sanctioning North Korea in a bigger way than we can do it, because 85% of the economy of North Korea is directly linked to China in terms of China buying coal from North Korea, and China supplies oil to North Korea. So China can play a consequential role in the decisions being made in North Korea.
Well, one of your Senate colleagues, Senator Marco Rubio, talked days ago about this, saying, listen, the people of North Korea, there are millions of people who are suffering and living in substandard conditions. I mean, they're already suffering horrible economic situations, and that the government is funneling a lot of funds into what they have and what they can develop on the nuclear front. So if sanctions are already damaging the average North Korean there, but yet the top elites and the military programs continue to be able to be funded, how much will that talk of new sanctions actually change minds there?
Well, you need sanctions, and you need discussions and negotiations, and China talking to North Korea to say, look, you need to give up these nuclear opportunities. But that's the big picture of this. North Korea has been called the land of lousy options for a long time, for the reasons that you just outlined. So we have now a number of different things we can do. A peaceful resolution is the best. We have additional options all the way through in ways to first try to deter activities by North Korea. But we know that the sophistication in North Korea has gone way up in terms of their own capacities. We now have a new president who is saying either China will decide or we will decide. We want a peaceful solution, but North Korea is on a path to a nuclear weapon that they can then deliver by an intercontinental ballistic missile to the United States. We cannot allow that.
Yeah, and we understand that all of the military discussions, options were discussed last night as well. Senator Barrasso, thank you for making time for us.